We're gonna go right into it. I left off at the spawn in the first segment. We're gonna go post-spawn to summer and to fall after that. So let's start off with post-spawn and the baits that I use, what I'm looking for, and you know, kind of what we'll be doing during a post-spawn situation. A lot of people characterize post-spawn as a tough time to go fishing. And I don't necessarily deem it that way. A lot of times when the fish come off the beds, the fish are feeding back up for the summer. They've been through, you know, the spawning ritual. They've been, you know, us fishermen have been driving them crazy, you know, and the brim have been harassing them, and you know, they've been defending their beds and going through that spawning ritual. And when they come off the beds, a lot of times, you know, you'll have a little funk there when they first come off of them, but they really start feeding and they get active and they get aggressive, and it's a fun time to be out on the water. I always like to fish more towards the main lake or the big flats in the major tributaries, because I feel like that's where the fish are gonna be migrating to for the summer, and I feel like that's gonna hold the biggest populations of fish. So during the post-spawn, that's what I look for. I like to fish flats, and either main lake flats or flats like in the tributaries. And I will normally fish the inside edge of the grass line, especially this year with the water being up high. That's what I'm gonna be targeting, the inside to the bank. And you can find the inside edge of the grass line using your electronics. The fish this time of year are top water and a wacky worm. I get the question all the time, well, when do I throw a popping bait as opposed to a walking bait? And my simple philosophy behind that is, if I'm fishing targets, like if I'm casting the targets and I want my bait to stay in a strike zone for a longer period of time, I'm gonna use a popping style bait. If I'm throwing it around bushes, or if I'm throwing it around a isolated patch of grass or a weed clump like that, I want to cast it past my target, work it slow by it, whereas a popping bait, you can work that way. If I'm fishing a big, massive grass flat and I don't really have a target, I'm just throwing, that's when I like to use a walking bait. I can fish it faster, and I'm just covering water with that bait. I like to stay in the post-spawn range. I like to stay in the depth of, like, say 8 to 3 foot range. That's my favorite depth. And I think the biggest thing you can target during post-spawn is brim beds. Brim are gonna spawn, you know, after the bass have spawned, and I think that's a real big key target, is to focus around the brim beds. They're gonna spawn on these flats on the main lake. They'll spawn on the flats in the major tributaries, and they'll spawn on these hard bottom areas between the inside grass line and the bank. And that's what I'm gonna target with them with. I'll go through what I'll look at first. You're gonna be fishing the outside weed line, the outside edge of the grass. The fish are in their summertime pattern. They're gonna be towards the main lake area. They'll be at the mouths of the big major creeks. I like to fish flats. I like to fish the points, and I like to fish the drains. And let's just say, for instance, a lot of people have a misconception of how we flip grass in our lakes. And it is a little bit different down here in the marsh as opposed to our big reservoirs. And I'll talk about both. Let's say we're out on a flat, and we have a mat of hydrilla that's at this wall on this side over here. And the very outside edge of the grass is where I'm at. A lot of people think of flipping grass, they think they need to be at the mat. That on our reservoirs on Rayburn and Toledo Bend, that's not necessarily so. There is times when that'll work, and I'll share that with you later, but most of the time, if the mat's at the wall, I'm at the very edge of the grass in clean, bare water, I'm gonna sit my boat right around the edge of the grass, and I'm gonna take the big jig and I'm gonna pitch it up in the grass, okay? But I'm not flipping to the mat. I'm flipping to the grass that's up, you know, not too far from the outside edge. And what you really want to look for is if you're going along through there on the outside edge of the grass, trying to keep your boat on the outside of the edge of the grass, is you want to look where it really gets prime at, is if you look underneath the water and you see stalks of grass coming up. It's what we call new growth. It's grass that's growing, it's got oxygen in it. Normally you look down there and you'll see brim swimming around in it, and that's where the life is, and that's where it goes down.
I hope you enjoyed the preview clip, and for more like that and the entire collection, subscribe to the Bass University TV. And if you want the tackle that you see on there, I want you to go to the Bass University Tackle Shop, powered by Tackle Warehouse, and click right here, and it's all at your fingertips.
Welcome to Bass University TV, an online video training course where you'll learn champion bass fishing techniques from pro anglers Pete Glusek, Mike Iaconelli, and their talented special guests. From on the water to in the classroom, you'll learn sound techniques and strong fundamental bass fishing skills. Watch hours of video content on multiple topics at your own pace for a low monthly fee. Cancel at any time. Information is power in the sport of fishing, so learn from the very best. Subscribe to Bass University TV today.